What's up, guys? More Robert for you. We have here. I have John Poleg with me. We're ready to
In
bring
the
you more
flesh.
stuff. Hope
hmm
you guys have a good weekend. How you doing, John Paul?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Ready to talk about some wrestling.
We're gonna talk about the weekly wrestling that we always do. The week on WWE, AEW, and all these shows that we care about, that we love about. First of all, we want to thank you for all the support, all the views that you guys have for the last two videos that we did when it came to the review for what was going to be NXT, and also for the predictions of Clash of Champions. Leek actually predicted that Luke Harper was going to be there,
Yeah.
and how do you feel about being right?
I was actually surprised. I mean, I said that like, oh, he might bring out Harper or, he might be involved, but I didn't think he actually would. I thought he was just gonna sit at home until his contract was out. But
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's good he came back. Hopefully he still leaves though, because I don't see WWE using him after this storyline's over, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, to me, the one point that like I don't know where it's gonna go, but it's once again putting together the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean, and they kind of didn't do too much. I mean, at least they're not coming out dressed like Vikings and stuff, you know. They
yeah, they're
already
not
have the
with the
yeah,
with the hammers and all of that
yeah.
anymore. Yeah, I don't think that like they're gonna go that way. Hopefully they don't, because that to me is going backwards instead of
Oh
forward.
no, I don't think they will, especially with the Viking Raiders on
Yeah, and
Monday. So
like fortunately Roman lost, so that's also different because we
yeah,
all of us, the three of us, called it that Roman was gonna win. We didn't like his, and the one thing I will say, like the fact that this match was even before the main event, that was a little bit, over the top. And like it shows how much the Roman agenda is still going on. So,
yeah. I mean, like
what are your
we
thoughts
were
about
saying
on that, Eki?
the rumors how they wanted it in the main event, and I mean, I'm happy it wasn't in the main event, but the spot it was in was probably not as deserved. It probably should have been towards the middle of the show, or even I wouldn't say pre-show because they brought Harper back. That would have been wasted on the pre-show,
Oh
but I
yeah,
don't think it should have been the second last match.
yeah,
That
it
was a
should
little,
have been, in the middle,
yeah.
not like, right before the main event and everything. But I think I did predict that like if they bring Harper, they're gonna do Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns against Harper
Yeah,
and Rowan. So to me, I think that's the path that they're gonna go to
yeah, I
because
could definitely see that being at Hell in a Cell.
yeah, I can definitely see that too. Your thoughts about the Fiend coming back at the end of the pay per view before the pay per view was over?
I liked it. I love the Fiend, and you got to think. Imagine if you're like a little kid seeing this. He's like legitimately scary for like young kids. So I mean, it's really cool. It's not like a dumb, boring, like gimmicky thing. How they ruined his character when he came up to the main roster. They're actually treating this legit, and I think we're all kind of bored of Seth Rollins. He became too like corporate to suck up to Vince McMahon, and says he's not like cool anymore.
Oh
He's
yeah,
kind
no,
of
no.
like, so I'm ready for the belt to be off him. It
Oh
might be a
yeah,
little too soon for the Fiend, but I mean WWE's got to they're going for the hot hand right now.
oh yeah.
They got to give the title to get the most views, get the most money in seat or butts in seats, make the most money.
I mean, they know that the hottest thing that they have is the Fiend right now.
Yeah, so
Especially right. We can summarize a little bit of what happened on Monday Night Raw. He attacked Kane. Kane came back, made his debut because Raw took place in Knoxville. He won the 24/7 championship for like 2 seconds, and then our Truth won it back again. And he
yep.
after that he attacked Demon Kane. Demon Kane. The Fiend showed up, and that set up more of a storyline for what is going to take place at Hell in a Cell. And Seth Rollins and the Fiend win the Universal Championship on the line. I feel that like if they put the title on the Fiend, like you said, to me is a little bit too soon. But you need to do it because the Fiend is the hottest thing you have.
The only thing
There's
with
no
that
one else
is
ready for that. Seth Rollins is stale. His character is really boring. And after the thing they had with Becky Lynch, to me, he's not a credible champion.
But
So
who else is there on Monday Night Raw after after let's say the Fiend wins? Hopefully, there's no way he can lose.
yes,
But let's say so after that, who does he feud with? Who
You could the first feud. You could bring back Finn Balor, bring him back, and then do the Demon against the Fiend. That would be my guess. Or you can
But
do. You need more faces on Monday Night Raw. That's for sure. You can do Braun Strowman once again, but everybody's tired of Braun Strowman.
yeah, I mean, they need to build it up in a way that these people are deserving these championship matches, not just, I don't want to see Finn Balor brought back. He calls out the Fiend for attacking him earlier, and then he gets a title shot.
Yeah, well,
They got to
how they
book it, but
structure the feuds, yeah, how they structure the title matches, they should change completely.
yeah, I
And
mean, I'm interested to see how they book it from here because I see him holding it till at least WrestleMania. But
yeah, well, there's a lot of things. What could happen? They say that Survivor Series might be the Undertaker,
I th-
or WrestleMania might be the
if
Undertaker. But at
if they
some
don't,
point, those two are going to cross paths.
yeah, if they don't do I mean, I see the way when he attacked Kane, you could book the Undertaker in this next match, like his
Yeah,
after Seth Rollins. I mean, I don't know what pay-per-view is after Hell in a Cell.
after Hell in a Cell will be Survivor Series,
Oh, well then, see, I
and
don't
then
know if they're doing the Raw versus SmackDown thing, and then if Lesnar or Kofi, hopefully Lesnar,
yeah, oh,
people want to see that match.
yeah, well, yeah, like that's gonna be for the first episode of SmackDown on Fox,
Yeah.
and it's the first time in such a long time a championship match involving Brock Lesnar on SmackDown Live. So we're reviewing both shows in here, and of course Brock Lesnar is gonna win the title because we know that Fox, probably the people on Fox, they want Brock Lesnar to be the champion.
Oh
Is the
yeah.
most credible guy that they have, and Kofi's reign is over. To me, Randy Orton should have been the guy, but knowing that Brock Lesnar was coming after Randy Orton, it makes total sense why Kofi Kingston retained the WWE Championship. So, John Paul, tell us about NXT debuting on the USA Network Wednesday. They did good numbers. They pulled out 1.5 million. What are your thoughts on the show? Did they deliver for you? Were we correct
I think it
with
was a
stuff
good
that we talk
show.
about?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised they started off with the women's match, but I mean, they came out and all them women just went after each other and they were all beating the crap out of each other. The match wasn't too long. What was it, like 10 minutes or?
10 minutes or so, because
Yeah,
like I say
some.
the first hour was on the USA Network, and then the
Yeah,
second one was on the WWE Network.
yeah.
So
I was surprised that Candice LeRae won. Again, that was a thing where I didn't think they would make that match so soon. But who knows? Are they gonna call up? Uh,
Shayna
Yeah, Shayna
Baszler, yeah.
Baszler. Yeah, yeah. Like,
It,
you don't know what their plans are. I mean,
mm-hmm,
Candace could lose, but I don't see her losing. I think it's time. She's the ultimate baby face against the ultimate heel. So,
exactly.
I
Yeah,
think,
yeah. I really feel it's gonna go that way. I really feel that. Like, see, we predicted that. You were the one that said that Io Shirai was gonna win it,
yeah,
and
that's
see,
what I
my
thought.
heart wanted Io Shirai, but knowing WWE, I knew that they would put Candice LeRae because, like you said, she's the ultimate baby face,
And
and
they
she's
could
gonna be
even,
the Gargano's version in the women's division.
and I wouldn't even be surprised because to turn Io heel, they didn't really do too much with her heel. Her and Candace had a few matches, but I could see it being a thing where she wins it, and it's like when Gargano won the title. He only holds it for a little bit, and then maybe Io could take it from her.
And see, that will be fine. That will be fine. And then, for example, then Io can be a credible heel. And
Yeah,
then
and then
finally she gets the win that she deserves, because I told you, for me, she should have been champion in the second match that she fought Shayna Baszler
yeah,
when she was still face. But I guess they didn't pull the trigger at that time, so I feel that now in her heel, gimmick, I think it should be okay for her to just wait for the championship for a little
yeah,
bit more
and I
and
think
just let Candice have it.
yeah, I mean, I think that, and that will be the same, October 2nd. That'll be the same day as AEW's women's match.
Yes, and there is a schedule. That's a great point you're making, because Candice LeRae against Shayna Baszler is going to take place on the show for October 2nd, the very same day that AEW is going to debut Wednesday Night Dynamite.
And I
So,
think
what are your
that,
thoughts about that? Why are they doing that?
I mean, they think, what you can do, we can do better kind of deal. That's how I feel. They're and I think the NXT women's match will be better. Just we are more invested in these women than we are on the AEW side, and I just think it'll be better. Yeah. What do you think?
I feel that overall I agree with you because mainly just we know more of these women. Like, see, we've been seeing Candice LeRae and Shayna Baszler for the past what 2 years, two
Yeah.
and a half years. Like we've seen Candice LeRae since the Royal Rumble 2018 when she was with Johnny Gargano when he fought Andrade Cien Almas for the NXT Championship, and Shayna Baszler's been the champion for like I want to say not as long as Asuka was, but is
No,
her
it's
title reign is about to be there.
yeah, it was 200 some days they said. So it's a
Yeah,
little yeah, cuz she lost it to Ember Moon, I think, and then didn't
yeah,
she
for
win
a
it
little
back
bit,
from Ember
yes, and
Moon?
then she won it
Yeah.
back. Yes, yes,
So
she won it back from Amber Moon. Yeah, and then she's been holding the title since. So I
yeah,
feel
and
that like for that reason, it's gonna be just a better match because we're all invested, and of course they're gonna pull a title change just because that's gonna get them more viewers.
oh yeah,
You know that.
if Shano retains, people will be, oh, it's a good match, but it won't be a headline grabber or anything. But
Yes,
Candice winning, I mean, nothing against Riho and Nyla Rose, but like you said, we have no investment in these women. We don't know
we
who
just
they
don't know them
are.
enough, and that's
Yeah,
why WWE kind of like gets a little bit of the itch, you know,
yeah,
and in these situations because we know more of their product rather than AEW's. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. AEW also has like a big main event with LAX and Chris Jericho going against the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. So that's
yeah,
gonna be
which
the grabber
I
right
think will
there,
be good. Yeah,
and the return of John Moxley on Dean Ambrose. So that's gonna be another situation where we'll see who can pull out the best show. We'll see what they give us also from NXT because so far it's only been announced the championship match of the women. But we got to see what Adam Cole is going to do that day.
yeah, and I saw that I think Cody said if he loses to Guevara, he's not gonna challenge Jericho at Full Gear.
See, for
So
example, like, see, that's the one thing about AEW that they do that is nice is that they keep adding stipulations as they go, so they make
hmm
the matches more interesting.
and with that, I'm not sure if that is an obvious thing then that maybe Cody's gonna win because that's a good, that's a money drawing match, Jericho
Yeah,
versus Cody,
yeah.
or if that's because some fans were like, why is Cody getting a title shot, blah blah blah. Maybe he's going to give the young guy a rub, let Sammy have the win, and then they'll have to figure out another number one contender
No, yeah,
for Full Gear.
yeah. We'll see. I mean, also like that like Dean Ambrose or John Mox is gonna go back.
hmm
So and he finally is gonna be fighting Kenny Omega, the match that we didn't get
Yeah,
all out. So we'll see where these storylines come about. You know that Pac Neville beat Kenny Omega. So in between those two, that match could be a potential consideration to be a number one contender.
yeah,
Or let's say Pac and Cody go against each other, and from them, whoever wins, then he can be the number one contender. By
yeah.
the
I
way,
think
we want to shout out Ryan. He's taking care of some personal business, so he'll be with us next week. Just in case you guys are wondering why is not Ryan here, he just taking care of some personal business, and that's why the two of us were in charge of doing this episode and taking care of the business for this week. Going back to you, Eki, tell us like what else did you enjoy about the show? What was the important thing about Roderick Strong and Velveteen Dream? And the Roderick Strong wins the North American Championship, and now the Undisputed Era has gold all over their faces.
well the thing with that match, which I mean everybody notices, it wasn't a clean win. There was a point where Velveteen Dream looked like he was tapping. I know. I think Moro even said, oh, like he better be careful, or it's gonna look like he's tapping out. And then
Hmm.
the Undisputed Era came out, and they were, hey, blah blah blah,
They were
saying he
distracted.
tapped.
They were distracting the referee and everything.
Yeah, and then they got involved, and then Roderick ended up winning. But now there's that big asterisk. He won. He didn't win clean. So
Yes.
Velveteen. I think he's hurt, like legitimate hurt. I don't
Yeah,
think it's like
after the show, there were quite a few people that actually got injured. Not only the Velveteen Dream, but a few of them got injured also. And but the most noticeable is the Velveteen Dream, and we'll see how severe the injury is
yeah.
because
If
I
I were
really can
them,
see a
I,
rematch between the two of them.
yeah, I would have him sit out. I don't know how severe the injury is, but if he can be back by October 2nd, I mean that'd be the perfect time to do that rematch.
Yeah,
Just
that
load
would
that card up.
Yeah, they will be like, hey, I'm back. I want my title shot.
Yeah,
I want my
yeah.
rematch. And then go ahead. And then you start your match. And then you have it.
But with all of them now, because we all said we'd like to see Roderick turn and go
Hmm.
against Adam Cole. But
Hmm.
now, since it seems that might not happen, now I think it's Kevin Owens if I had to pick.
It might be Kevin Owens. It might be Cesaro. We don't know. It might be Pete Dunne. Because, like, for example, you know that, like, Triple H said in one of the conference calls, he said that Tony Storm and Pete Dunne are going to be now permanent members of the NXT roster. They
Mm.
left already the NXT UK.
Oh yeah, they're loading that up.
Yeah, so they're loading that up. So, for example, Tony Storm could easily be a potential contender for the women's championship, which it will be great. At that point, they will have to do either
And
like face against face because it will be
that's what
Candice against Tony.
that's what I would like to see them do. Io. That's if Io wins the championship, you could have the Mae Young Classic rematch
Yeah, you can have the
against
rematch,
Io
and
and Tony.
but this time you will actually have enough time for them to
Oh
pull
yeah,
out like a good
yeah,
match.
not like 8 minutes. That was the
That
only match I was looking forward to at Evolution, and it
and
was
yeah, and it
bullshit.
didn't deliver at the end. So
Yeah,
I agree with you on that. I feel that hopefully they can do that. So Candice is just there for maybe just gets the title warm for Io, and then we can have Tony Storm as the number one contender, and then we get to see that match, let's say by War Games or at
hmm
the beginning of the 2020. So we'll see what happens in the in that situation. But
yeah. With
what?
Triple H, I have complete faith that he's gonna book all these guys correctly. These men
Yeah,
and
but
women,
that's for example. I wanted to ask you on that regard. Triple H stated that Vince will not be in charge of the NXT brand. Do you have enough faith that that will take place? And do you have enough faith in Triple H being the right man that needs to be in charge of NXT?
I think I have faith in that. The only way I see Vince getting involved is if the ratings start going down,
Mm-hmm.
like real bad, and then I could see Vince coming in and trying to, put his, fingerprints all over it. But the way it sounds so far, he was texting Triple H and telling him, oh hey, kill it out there, like blah blah blah. I have faith in you. Oh, 20 minutes. Are you nervous? Like he was texting him like he was, a proud and supportive father-in-law. He wasn't
Yes,
texting him
yes.
as Vince McMahon.
He
So
was he
that's
wasn't
kind
micromanaging him. He was
yeah,
just
yeah. He was just sending him little texts to try to, keep his spirits up or, motivate him or whatever. It wasn't like, oh, you should do this or you should do that. At least that's what was reported. So
he, yeah, he
hopefully
let him
if that,
be. He let Triple H be, so that's
yeah.
important. That's
So
important.
hopefully if that's, the way they're going to go, you know, I have full faith.
Oh no, I have extreme faith mainly because what I've seen so far from NXT is such a good product and he's been
Mhm.
able to deliver every single time. And you know that when these superstars are there, they matter. Every single
Yeah.
one of them matter. Their characters, their gimmicks matter for them, and they're actually presented enough time for them to develop their own character, to develop their own identity. Something
Yeah.
that when they go to the main roster is one of the main reasons why they get lost in the shuffle
And
because they don't have enough time and exposure for them.
yeah, and the thing with NXT, the show is booked seriously. And I'm hoping that since it's on the USA Network and maybe Vince will see it and maybe then they'll start to book Raw and SmackDown more seriously. I feel that that's the way they're going. This past SmackDown was booked a little more serious. So, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. Just,
Oh
book it like a
yeah,
wrestling show, not like,
yeah. Well, like it's we used to talk about this, thinking like months ahead, and
mhm.
now it's gonna be in 2 weeks. It's pretty much right in front of us, and it's the time. WWE, of course, doing things really late. They didn't take this seriously, and look at them now. Now they're stuck in a corner where Fox is gonna be breathing out their necks, and they're gonna be, hey, we need this product to be actually believable because we left UFC for you guys. So they're gonna have to really change their ways and make sure that the show is, like you said, presented more seriously. Which
Yeah.
I wanna agree with you that like I felt that like this last SmackDown was presented different. I saw a lot more seriousness. Kofi didn't smile. Uh, he came out with, of course, still the pancakes, but I could see that there was something different. So you can tell that like, they're going to be changing as time goes by.
And I want to know the whole pancake thing. If that's Kofi's idea to be like, no, I still want to come out and, positivity, the power of positivity, throw the
Yeah,
pancakes and all that other bullshit. Is
yeah.
that him or is that from higher up? They're like, no, no, keep throwing the pancakes. People love that.
It
Like,
will
I want
probably
to know
be.
who is in charge of that.
I think it will probably be higher ups, just
Yeah.
because like the product is for nowadays is intended kid friendly,
Yeah.
is towards kids, and kids probably love to see Kofi throwing pancakes. They probably find that thing hilarious, and that's why they do it.
Yeah, so hopefully with, moving to Fox and all that, I mean, they don't need to go to Attitude Era because I don't think that that's the right, direction to move, but just don't insult our intelligence and make it a little more mature.
Yeah, like I would say,
And
like
like NXT is the perfect balance, I think. They treat, everything seriously and there's continuity and things make sense.
yeah, like that. See, for example, the one main thing that I will always say about NXT is continuity and logic. There's no gaps, and if
Yeah.
there is, there's probably like minor details when it comes to those. But I will say the fact that like they always keep the continuity. The one thing that they do, let's say 6 months ago, makes sense or becomes meaningful now.
Hmm.
So if you were watching 6 months ago, they're like, oh, this is what happened, and now this is why this person is acting this way. So that's, for example, that to me how they tie the knots is always
Yeah.
is always great, and things that like for example in the main roster we don't see that. Robert Roode went from like Bobby Roode goes to Robert Roode. He had the awful mustache, and now he has the logo Bobby Roode one all over again, and
Yeah,
nobody says anything about it.
I mean, I don't know. Hopefully tomorrow we can see, and hopefully Raw improves as well. But
We'll see. I mean,
I don't know. But yeah, we
they're
gotta
gonna
wait and
have to
see.
start building for Hell in a Cell, and we have like I will agree that Hell in a Cell doesn't need to have that many matches inside Hell in a Cell. I will agree
Yeah.
that like the two main rivalries it should be Sasha and Becky
Hmm.
and not Brock Lesnar. I'm sorry. And Seth and the Fiend. Those two need to be inside Hell in a Cell, and then they will have any other matches like the IC title will be defended, the US Championship will be defended. But I mean, the pay per view should be built around those two matches:
Yeah.
Becky and Sasha and Rollins and the Fiend.
With that being said, I would almost like to see those two matches go on last.
Yeah, well,
But
they should be like, for example, like you said, don't once the Becky match is over, don't even raise the cage. They just leave
mhm.
it down for Seth and the Fiend.
Yeah, I mean, unless they'd want to start off with the women's match, but I don't know.
Which to me, yeah, they already closed the show with the women's Hell in a Cell. So to me, there's no reason why that match should close the show. So
No,
I feel that
the
like,
Fiend, that's definitely the main event. I don't see them putting anything on after him. So, but
I
I don't.
really,
It's
yeah,
interesting to see where they're going to place all these matches and if they try to add any more in the cell last minute, like the Roman Reigns and whatever, and if he is going with Daniel Bryan against Luke Harper and Eric Rowan,
I
I
think
could
that
see
that's
that.
gonna be a match. See, and you guys heard it first on Rubric. I think that's going to be one of the matches on the pay per view. John Paul and I said it already. Luke Harper and Rowan is going to go against Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. It's going to be a tag match because, unfortunately, because Daniel Bryan was being the hottest heel and on SmackDown and probably throughout the whole WWE roster, now he's babyface again. Unless somehow he turns it around and be like, I've been the leader of this ever since. Harper came back because of me, and they become like a staple.
Which I mean, I could see them doing that, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't. I think they're writing this week to week, so I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel that they write the things very, very, uh, just week to week basis, like you said. Nothing is really presented like with months in advance. I think it's just there's no like urgency. It's just like,
Hmm.
oh, why are we gonna do this? Oh, like what about this? Oh yeah, that works. Let's do it. So that's why there's so many logic gaps, and that's why one storyline that is hot is just being dropped.
Yeah, I'd like to find out when they contacted Harper to say, "Hey, do you want to come back?" Blah blah blah. We're doing this storyline.
Probably Sunday morning.
Yeah,
Knowing WWE Sunday morning. Oh, what are you doing? No, I'm just gonna watch football tonight. Oh no, you're not. You're coming back. We'll
yeah,
send
that's what I mean. It's
a private plane for you, and then you'll be at the pay per view. So I feel that yeah, that's what. Hopefully NXT right now that like is right on Vince's eyes, they kind of can provide some guidance
yeah,
to
that's
the
what I'm
main
hoping
roster,
too.
and they can see what you should do in order to be successful, or at least to present a better product. Now that AEW is pretty much right there.
Yeah, because I mean, if he watches the show, he'll hear that audience. That live audience was insane the whole show. They're screaming, going crazy. And sometimes Monday Night Raw, the crowd is on their phones, texting,
It's
sleeping.
just like yeah, let's go
Yeah,
watch Raw, but on the end, it's just you're just gonna go watch your phone.
yeah. So, I mean, hopefully, like we said, they follow suit, but I guess the only thing we can do is wait.
We can just wait, and we will be informing you guys. We'll always be talking about this. Wrestling is our lives, it's our passion. So it doesn't matter if it's good, it doesn't matter if it's bad. We're always gonna be talking about it. So anyway, okay. So Jean Paul, tell me a little bit about something that you already mentioned in the show before, in the last show that we talked about NXT, how they were able to incorporate the cruiserweights, the 205 roster, into the NXT universe. What are your thoughts about that? They have a few matches involving the cruiserweights.
Yeah, I mean, they had the number one contender match, Leo Rush against Oni Lorcan. I mean, this match was really good. These guys came out here, and Oni Lorcan, we know what he can do. I was surprised to see Leo Rush back,
Oh
but
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. After
he has all the talent in the world. Like that dude is good,
yeah,
and
oh,
and
he
I
has a
was
moveset that is insane.
yeah,
His moveset is absolutely insane. I just know we're playing with him in the game like 4 or 5 times. His moveset is great.
and this is where he should be. With that, that was career suicide putting him with Bobby Lashley, and because
I would have.
they didn't have him really wrestle, and that I mean he's all right on the mic. He was a little annoying most of the time, but his real talent is in the ring.
Oh yeah, I
And
will. I will agree
yeah,
with that.
they were wasting him away. And do I think he's going to beat Drew Gulak? Probably not, but I mean it'll be one hell of a match.
And also, you know what's nice about it is like they promote somebody that we knew, and he's back, and he
Yeah,
actually became number one contender, which is good. And he beat Oni Lorcan, and it was a great match. Like you said, like his moveset is insane. The guy for sure can wrestle.
and
Even
that
he
was
could be like in the level of Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali, out of those guys. Buddy Murphy, he's a
oh yeah he
cruiserweight,
could
but he could easily go with against Seth Rollins and put a good match
yeah the
against
only thing
AJ
is
Styles.
I think he's like 180, 170 some pounds. So
Yeah, he's really tiny.
on the main roster, they won't push him, or at least they wouldn't have pushed him. Maybe their things have changed now since AEW, but I mean, I think 205 Live is a perfect place for him, and I think they'll have a great match him and Gulak. But the one thing I noticed and I liked was the crowd was into it. It wasn't
Oh
like if you
yeah.
watch 205 Live on the network and they'd barely show the crowd because no one's there, no one's cheering,
Well, first
at
of
the
all,
end of
the ones,
SmackDown.
yeah, the ones that are there are dead tired because they've been already watching the show since 8 o'clock, even
Hmm.
before that. Because the 7:30 they tape sometimes main event, or they have like a dark match, something to just get the crowd hot for when
Hmm.
SmackDown starts, and then after that, then they show 205 live. So the majority of the people are out, and the ones that stay are the true loyal fans of the cruiserweights, and that happens to be probably 3/4 of the audience that is gone. So these guys end up wrestling in front of just empty crowds.
And I forget where this match was on the like the 2 hour schedule, but I would like if the cruiserweights were maybe like the first match of the second hour or like the last match of the first hour, kind of like they bridged the 2 hours because it wasn't on WCW. The cruiserweights opened
But the
usually.
were sometimes open and sometimes also they were in the middle. Because
Uh,
it was like it was like you said, it was that way of bridging both
yeah,
both hours. Because the first hours it was some of the talking, setting up main event, like they do like Monday Night Raw and SmackDown,
yeah,
and then the end of the first hour was always the cruiserweight. The end of
yeah.
the first hour and the beginning of the last hour.
I think
So
they should have it where they like kind of have a not a set spot. I mean, because if the cruiserweights deserve the main event, with a good storyline or, a championship match or something, and then put them in the main event. But I would like to see them on every show, kind of like consistently. And I hope they book them like that.
Oh yeah, like I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I feel that like they should be the cruiserweight championship could be that also that middle title
Hmm.
that to be defended right there along the North American. You could have both titles right there in the middle, bridging for the end of the first hour and the beginning of the second one, or also could be the first hour like how they kept the crowd hot with the
Hmm.
cruiserweights, or at the same time the North American, and then you get hot for the NXT Championship and the second hour. So I feel that is very interesting what the cruiserweights could do, even if Triple H, doesn't give them like a main event spot. I think they're able to win that spot because they have enough talent, and on top of that, they have a very good roster because they have
Oh yeah.
Carrillo, they have Lorgan, now they have Leo Rush, have Kalisto, they have a lot of them. Lince Dorado, they have
Yeah. Drew
Vitali,
Gulak, Oni
and the champion
Lorcan.
Drew Gulak and Tony Nese when he comes back.
Yep.
So
And
I
that
feel
would
that
be
like it will be
something
good.
where if the rumors of Vince McMahon not being a fan of Cedric Alexander and burying him, that would be a thing where move him to NXT 205 Live because he can compete not only with the 205 Live guys, but that normal NXT guys.
Oh yeah, like for example, if he will be to go to the NXT world, it will be fine because he
Hmm.
can easily feud with the Velveteen Dream. He can easily actually challenge Adam Cole. I think that Cedric Alexander against Adam Cole will be a great match.
Oh yeah,
Both of them can fly. Both of them have a really great, innovative moveset. So it will just be a great match because you can see the amount of chemistry and the caliber of a match that they were able to put with AJ Styles, although they have 5 minutes. So
yeah.
I
That's
feel
that's
that
the
like
thing. It's I don't understand why they're not giving these matches time, but like we said with everything else, hopefully this will all change come
well, like
October.
hopefully as the weeks go by, and now that like pretty much the move to Fox is gonna take place, AEW is gonna start producing their weekly shows. We'll see different changes into the WWE, and also NXT will have to deliver a top tier product if they want to stay in competition with AEW, because we have one of AEW's most important star, if not the most important wrestler in the roster, saying a few quotes about NXT that like they got you completely infuriated. And
Oh
who's
yeah,
this man?
Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy when I heard that. And I mean, obviously, this is a work. He's just trying to get everybody riled up. And by calling them out like this to this degree, you
Hmm.
get people going, ooh, like, did you see what Kenny said? And then people are going to be more invested. But the thing with that is, I don't know. I assume Kenny's a face. People love him. They're always going to cheer him. He's coming out like this is if Jericho said this, I would laugh and this would be totally his character. But to me this seems like out of Kenny's character and it was almost I understand him calling out NXT because NXT was, the counter programming and all that other stuff, but he went like a little too far with it where now people might not even care that oh yeah like not like he's working the fans, it's like you're just kind of an asshole.
Can you read just part of it? Because we're gonna do a quote. What's the parts that like impress you the most of the whole thing that he did on an interview?
I'll just read the last part he
Yeah,
said
that
where he
whatever
said
like strikes you the most.
you're gonna call that a war, you're gonna call that competition, and he's talking about NXT here. Go
Yes.
ahead. Okay, maybe it's fun for you to do. That's cool. But we're different planets. You're going to see that right away when you see 10,000 plus arenas sold out. You're going to see smiles on fans' faces and you're going to see real stars, not developmental talent, but real stars appearing on your television sets every week. Now that goes back to what we said earlier. People know who Candice LeRae is. People know who Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, Mia Yim. They know who these are because we saw them on TV already.
Yes.
AEW said you're going to see real stars. We might see real stars in 5, 6 months from now when we know who these people are.
Yeah.
But they're coming in here and they're, throwing their weight around thinking that they're the king of the castle when they haven't even done anything yet.
Like you said, I think it's
They
pretty
they
much
had
Kenny
they,
Omega is being just like is a work. He
yeah,
needs to like, defend his brand. To me, he
that's what
has
I
to
mean.
defend his brand at all costs.
And that I get, but it reaches a point where now, like I said about Cody and how he called out Triple H with the throne breaker, they're picking a fight with the wrong guy. If they would, if they were calling out Raw and SmackDown, I'd be like, go ahead. Those shows need a kick in the ass. But
Mm-hmm.
NXT, you don't want. That's the one bear you don't want to poke.
No,
Because
yeah.
NXT, to me, is always going to put on is their show is always going to be better than AEW show.
That's your quote. That's your
Yep.
quote.
I mean,
John Paul
there
Egg.
might it,
Hear,
it
hear you
might
guys
not.
out. John Paul Egg
There
quotes.
might be matches in a main event where the main event tonight on Wednesday Night Dynamite was better than the main event on NXT. But if you go to just, I think the investment we have in these people and the the production value, the camera angles, the announcing, there's no better announcer than Mauro Ranallo.
It is true though. When it comes to like the product overall, I feel that like AEW might not have the same amount of talent that like NXT has when it comes to like finished product,
Yeah, and
meaning
there's
like
one,
announcing, camera angle.
and obviously all that stuff they'll improve on as they go. But like I said to you before, there's no heel announcer for AEW.
Yes, yes. There's no like that like
Yeah, you
that
can't have
system going on.
all face announcers, excuse me, and then because that won't be for good. That won't lead to good commentary. I don't feel.
I agree with you. I feel that like is I feel that like AEW will need to be polished, but I think as more shows they have, they will keep polishing more because like for them it's not easy to just put pay per view, and
Mhm.
then from there I think they probably are fixing already a lot of the mistakes that we've seen in All Out and we've seen in Double or Nothing. So to me, this is a work in progress when it comes to them. Hey, maybe we can do this better. Hey, this needs to be fixed. Maybe our announcing team is not strong enough and that's why they probably will be doing changes as they go. But to me, I wouldn't go that far with your statement. That saying that every NXT show is going to be better than AEW. I'm going to be the benefit of the doubt. You will have to depend of the overall product to judge, to be able to say who the best brand is. Because to me, AEW has a shot, but NXT is great too. So it will just be a matter of who provides the best storylines and
Oh yeah,
who just can give us a little more extra.
and if AEW proves me wrong, I'll be the first to say it. If they had these amazing storylines and blow NXT out of the water after the first couple months once they get get going, but I don't know. I mean, for right now, I don't think. For right now, I think they should have just said the same thing like Triple H said. They shouldn't have said anything. And then after they have their first show on Wednesday, if the fans are going crazy and the ratings are there, have Kenny and Cody and all them come out and say, "Follow that, my friends." That's
Oh
what
yeah,
Triple that all that's
it should have been
yeah.
war on.
Have a little. There was no class. That's pretty much this whole thing with Kenny. If I had to just say in a sentence, there was no class. Where Triple H clearly, when he said "follow that, my friends," he wasn't talking about New Japan or Ring of Honor or TNA or
Oh no,
whoever.
here the shot was like
Yeah,
yeah,
that
the
was
shot
clearly
was
for
like at
AEW.
AW. Yeah, and
But
like you said, like there's ways to how to combat in a war, and
mm,
Triple H has class where Kenny doesn't.
yeah,
But you gotta like see it from the point of view that like Kenny might just be defending his own brand, and he doesn't know how to express himself in a way that like Triple H can.
to go back to the quote I read when he said you're going to see 10,000 plus arenas sold out. If he was talking again, if he was talking about Raw and SmackDown, I'd say yeah. When's the last time they're sold out? When's the last time a pay per view sold out? Apparently, Hell in the Cell is doing awful for ticket sales, but you cannot tell me that there is an NXT show or a takeover that hasn't been sold out in the last how many years?
It is true though. It is true. You're bringing up a really great point because see the NXT on its
Because he's
own
yeah
it's
he's
been
only
it is
attacking
the best brand
NXT.
for like 2 years already.
Yeah, the only brand who he is attacking in this statement is NXT. That's the one. That's the reason why I'm like, I don't think what you said is even like you're defending your brand, but what you're saying is wrong. And he said you're going to see smile on fans' faces. Well, yeah, I'm sure they're going to smile at AEW. I'd be smiling if I was there, but you also better believe I'd be smiling if I was at NXT.
Oh yeah, like and like that's the thing. Like for example, like the crowds on NXT, they're like more invested in this. They're into it. And every NXT show is like a concert.
There's no
Everybody's like
way,
yelling, singing. Everybody's into it.
especially that like where Triple H comes out and he says like, I don't know if did you hear that when he was talking to the fans?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, when
yes.
he's like, I need
They
your
had a
help, blah
WWE
blah blah.
exclusive.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
I mean that was if you don't get hyped up from that and start going crazy, I don't know what.
Oh well,
But
yeah. You don't have blood running through your veins. You know,
yeah,
if you don't get high by what Triple H had to say. But of course, Triple H is one of the greatest, promos of all time. He knows how to like defend himself. He knows how to like cut a promo. So of course he's gonna get the crowd hyped up.
and
To
then
me, the one that needed to say something in those regards, like you said, it should have been Jericho,
uh
because Jericho has enough class and has enough argument and substance to be able to say those things because he's the
yeah,
only one that has been in both worlds. He
well not
knows
just
NXT.
that Jerick, like I said, Kenny to me, he's like I feel he's going to be their number one baby face in the
Mm-hmm.
company. People love him. He's got jumpy, flashy, flippy moves. People love, people pop for. We have Jericho, who's this old, angry heel, and he's already called out WWE before. So I think for him to say this, it wouldn't be out of the norm for him.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
and I
I
think it would
understand.
fit his heel character.
I feel, yeah, exactly. Like for example, like ever since he came, Jericho joined AEW, he's been saying these things.
Hmm.
He's been sending message to all this pay per view sucks, and you wanted me to stay here. You gotta watch AEW because look at what they're putting, and then look what we're putting on. So I
Yeah,
feel that like what Kenny's saying is just is a way for him to defend his brand, but there's ways how to you can defend your own brand. There's
yeah,
a lot of ways of how you can actually say the same thing without offending the NXT roster. And I know it's developmental, but is it funny that the developmental, right? We're quoting here, developmental
hmm,
can put better shows than their own main roster? Like,
yeah. That's
would you consider Adam Cole developmental?
no, and that's what I mean. And there's some people out there who probably think Adam Cole's better than Kenny Omega.
I could, he's in that category. He's in that category. Would you pay money to see Kenny Omega against Adam Cole?
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah,
If you're a
exactly.
wrestling fan, you'd pay to see that match.
Exactly, because you know that both of them can tear the house down. Kenny Omega is to me in the same level as a Gargano. Is in the
Hmm.
same level as Adam Cole. Even a little a touch, a notch up than them, a notch higher
Hmm.
than.
Yeah,
But the only thing is like Kenny Omega doesn't have the same exposure as Adam Cole, as like Johnny Gargano, because he's not a WWE guy. So, for example, if I go somewhere outside America and not Japan, do you know who Kenny Omega is? There will be people that they don't know who he is.
yeah. I
Whereas
mean,
Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano will be like, yeah, I think I seen him.
if it wasn't for like the Bullet Club becoming popular and them getting a deal with Hot Topic and selling the T-shirts, you'd probably have barely anybody who would know who they are
Yeah, I mean,
in America here.
you will have to be like a die-hard wrestling fan, like a true blood wrestling fan, because
Hmm.
those kind of fans are the ones that will be watching the matches with Okada, and then you became a fan. That's how I became a fan. I can tell you, Ryan told me, look at this match. This match is great. You gotta see it. And then I saw the match, and I was like, yeah, this match is awesome. Who are these guys? And he's like, oh, it's Okada against Omega. And then I dig into it, and then Meltzer gave it like a 5 out of 5. So I was like, okay, this is a must see, and yeah, because Kenny Omega has a great move set. The V trigger to me is the best knee in wrestling right now.
Oh yeah,
And we've said this before, how they protect the one wing angel. Every time that he hits that move, you know it's done. So I really love that. So when it comes to that, yeah, Kenny Omega is great, but definitely Adam Cole is in the same category.
yeah. And then for people firing back at Kenny Omega, Dominic Dijakovic, he said, "Hey, at Kenny Omega, Remember when my match with Real Keith Lee embarrassed yours on your PWG homecoming weekend of Bola 2017? Tune in this Wednesday to NXT TV on USA at 8 p.m. so two developmental guys can show you how real, or hold on. So two developmental guys can show a real star how it's done again.
Well, see, like of course WWE is going to defend too. They
Mm-hmm.
need to defend, and of course, like because see, being called developmental, that's the insult right there. To me, that's the main offense. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
because like oh, so like we're not even pure wrestlers, or we're not wrestlers. We're still in developmental. But when these guys can pull off great matches anywhere,
And
and
that's the
in,
thing that like we said earlier, this is clearly all a work. Kenny doesn't hate these guys. He's probably friends with the
with
majority
all of
of
them,
them.
yes.
Yeah, he's probably he's clearly wrestled on the same show as some of them and a lot of them, but that's what I mean. I don't know if he just went on this show and was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna bury NXT to try to get publicity and make our brand look good." But I think like I said, he went too far, and now you got some people, or at least this is how I feel. You got some people who were excited to see both shows and see how the wars went. To now, I'm leaning for I want NXT to kind of beat them to beat AEW in the ratings at least for a little bit, just to kind of rub in their face like, hey, why don't you go out and instead of talking in interviews and this and that, why don't you go out and do your talking in the ring?
Well, see, like
Put
for
on good
example,
shows, put on good storylines, and then then you can say, look at us, we're better. We got better storylines, we have better talent. To say you have better talent, we've only seen the same handful of guys in their pay-per-views.
well, that's my point on that. Is just like that's the consequence that they want to get out of the fans is how
Mm-hmm.
you feel. So their point is being made. It's like they want people to pick sides because they don't want people to just flip flop. They just want people to just be like, oh, you're an NXT guy, you watch NXT. You're AEW, you watch AEW, and therefore you have to hate NXT and the ones that watch
Yeah,
NXT they have to hate AEW. They want to separate the fans. They want to make them pick their own side, and I don't. I mean, to me, it's just a work. Like us as wrestling fans,
oh
we
yeah,
know
we
this.
know, yeah, we know
We
these.
know
This
that
isn't
like this
his
is
true
just a
feelings.
part of just like their job is just part of like keeping these situations hot, current,
Mm-hmm.
relevant, and to me is their way for them to say, you know what, we have the best brand, you got to check us out. And the other ones, of course, they're gonna counterattack. It's like, no, 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 we have the best brand. You gotta watch us. Don't be watching that. Like for example, they can say the same thing that you said. Oh yeah, they've been featuring the same five guys throughout the whole time. Lucha Bros, the Young Bucks, Cody, and Kenny Omega, and Jericho. Who else is there? But you know that there's more in their roster than when they actually been featured. But it
Oh yeah,
goes back to the same thing that you said before. They haven't shown us what they can do yet.
yeah, and that's the thing. They haven't shown us what they could do because they've only had, these three pay-per-view events, and then they had the Fight for the Fallen and Fighter Fest.
Hmm.
So I can't knock them too much because they haven't had the weekly television show. But then in the same breath, because you haven't had the television show, don't overstep your boundaries. Don't be calling someone else out until you've proved what you can do. That's my whole
Yeah, I
thing.
mean they have to do that. This is like pretty much like a boxing match. This is
Oh
pretty much
yeah.
you have to run your mouth a little bit to get
Mhm.
the situation, to warm up, to spice it up. You will say. So
Yeah,
I
the only
feel
the
that
only thing that I'm excited since he said this, now I think he's gonna, if Triple H and all them, if they weren't already going full throttle, now they're going to be.
oh
And I
yeah,
think it's,
I think that's gonna ignite the fire, And now it's like if there wasn't a war, it is now.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and then they should change the show for NXT, and they should have it like the way it used to be before, the War Zone. It used to
Mhm.
be like that because war is gonna be on, and it's gonna start in 2 weeks. I feel that it's gonna be very interesting. But like I said, and this is the one thing that I want every single person to understand: the people that are actually benefiting from all of these things are the fans, because we have choices. You and me and everybody else that support this beautiful sport that is professional wrestling.
I
For
mean,
the ones that don't think that is a sport, whatever. You can have your own opinion. We have our own opinion. We do this because we love it. We don't search for money out of this. We just like to talk about wrestling, and we like to share our thoughts with all of you, the Road Break family, the Road Break universe. So, any closing thoughts on this, John Paul?
About the Kenny Omega thing,
Yes.
pretty much. I mean, I think we covered it all. Like you said, the only people who are going to benefit from it is us. And you can have people who can pick sides, but I think picking sides, even though it does sound like I'm kind of on the NXT side, you better believe I'll be watching all of AEW shows because I'm excited to see what they're going to do. But I do think they need to. I don't know how they're going to structure all this talent. It seems like they have a lot of people on their roster, and I don't know how they're going to feature a lot of them. That's
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that kind of makes me nervous for them.
It worries you a little bit.
Yeah, because I feel like you're going to see a lot of the same guys over and over, the main event talent guys, and then all the other people they signed are slowly going to be trickled in here and there. And I don't know. I just want to see how they build their roster up. That's the only thing that worries me with AEW.
It's gonna be very interesting. It's
Because
gonna be very interesting.
one thing I heard, which kind of unrelated, but it goes with what I said, is apparently Joey Janela has never went to a wrestling school.
Oh,
He never trained to be a wrestler, all that stuff, and he almost takes pride in that.
well, but in
And
those
it's one of
things,
those things where you get these people where how serious are they going to be? You get these young, a lot of their rosters real young. How mature are they going to be once they are on that national TV? They're getting all this money coming in. I just want to see how these young guys are going to react, especially if they're not featured on TV. They might be upset, I just want it's interesting to see how this is all going to turn out.
and yeah, it seems to me like when it comes to that, you have a really great point, and I would like to just add more to that because, for example, I feel that like AEW with the amount of wrestlers that they have, they should even be able to pull out like a second show.
Oh yeah.
Like they should be like Nitro and Thunder,
Mhm.
something else because, like you said, Janela. Well, when it comes to that, when it comes to that, this can easily be comparable to like a guitar player that never learned how to play guitar in like a formal school, like a Jimi Hendrix. You could
Yeah.
say like a Santana that they learn by themselves. When you have enough talent, you can and the passion for it, you can become a great wrestler, and that's the case of Johnny Janela. You enjoy him, we all do.
I did, and then I watched that match again, listened to it, and there's more things every time I watch it that I see that bother me. So
Like
that's what I
what?
mean. It's just
Just
like
like
this,
one thing. Let us know one thing.
like just all the spots. I feel that they they were like, we're gonna do this big spot, this big spot, this big spot, and then everything else besides those big spots, and even some of them were kind of sloppy. Like the ending to the match was sloppy when what's his who he hit the Rainmaker on Janela.
Yeah, the Rainmaker. Yeah, Havoc.
Yeah, yeah, Jimmy Havoc. You know, that looked a little sloppy. Just I feel like the big spots, some of them looked good, and then the rest of the match was kind of all over the place. It was
It
it,
was
it
just
wasn't
sloppy.
yeah
It wasn't like it wasn't the caliber that you're used to it.
yeah.
Well, like I said, it's and see that's to me, the fact that we have options now. That's the beauty of it. Because for
Mm,
example, before it was just WWE and WWE. If you had enough time, if you have enough will as a fan to watch, you will watch Impact because at least it was a minor scale wrestling, but you had different options when it came to that. But see, now you have AEW. Now you have New Japan because New Japan is like has a lot of coverage when it comes to their main matches and everything. And
and
now on top of that, Impact, we mentioned this in the podcast before. Impact is going to be broadcasted on Access TV and even Ring of Honor. If you have there's now apps now, Twitch for AAA. So you as a fan have a variety of options. So WWE should not be your only source of wrestling as a fan. You have so many other choices.
yeah, I agree with that. And that's like I said earlier. I think that they'll AEW will have good shows, but these guys need to mature and grow and get better. Because I think if they all stay where they're at now, AEW is going to have to focus on the main event guys, and you know, to try to beat NXT because they're such a polished, well-oiled machine. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
And yeah, like to me, I think that we will just have to see. You know, for us, it's like is to me is too early to even say. We can expect things,
Mm.
obviously. We can see. We might be able to predict what could happen or what things we would like to see, but it's just too early. To me, I will start making my own opinion after like a month of seeing Wednesday Night Dynamite, because I will be able to say, oh, I've seen these wrestlers being portrayed, these other wrestlers being portrayed, but like you said, they have a big roster, so for them to able to expose all of them is going to be a big challenge. For example, who are like, do you like the bracket when it comes to the tag team champion?
I'm surprised that there isn't more teams in it.
It
I
is
thought it
very
would be,
tiny. It's very
yeah,
tiny.
I thought it would be a bigger tournament. I don't, I think I heard that the Lucha Bros have like another match or they're booked somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So now I could see them losing to the Jurassic Express in that
Mm-hmm.
first round.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Young Bucks win and then lose to them. But I mean, I don't know. I think it'll be the best. How they put the best friends back in the tournament. I think that should have been another team
Mm-hmm.
because they lost that first round bye, the match to earn a first round bye.
Yes.
So since
Yes.
they lost that, I felt like they should be out of the tournament. And that's what I said earlier is they're kind of focusing on all like a certain number of guys. It's like these are our main event guys. These are the guys you're going to see the most.
Mm-hmm.
When if you're trying to build stars, you should be putting these people who we don't know because that's the only way we're going to know them is if you
What,
put them
what
on the
what they
show.
need to do is, put a good amount of the recognized stars, mix them in with an upcoming, with the newer stars.
Yeah.
So if they keep doing that, is the old ones will be able to help the newer ones to grow, and being also make knowledge, make them acquainted with us,
Yeah.
make them familiar with us, and I hope that they do that. So we'll see. I mean, to me, the tournament, like you said, it seems like to be really short.
Mm.
But to me, the winner is will have to be. You said the Lucha Bros have another commitment somewhere else,
I believe that's what I read.
so
Yeah.
maybe we'll see Private Party. Maybe Private Party could
Oh,
pull the
oh,
offset,
oh,
or
they'll
Los
still.
Cesaros when Janelle.
Yeah, I can see. Like I said, I see it coming down to the Jurassic Express and the Dark Order in the
Mm-hmm.
finals. I don't see. I don't see the Young Bucks or the Lucha Bros being in the finals.
Just because they've been fighting for in the main event spot the whole time, and
Yeah, and they'll eventually be the tag team champions. They'll have a
mhm.
good title reign and this and that. But I think you're trying to get people over because the Young Bucks are already over. The Lucha Bros are already over. You need to build your roster up,
And
and
build
that's the
like
way to
a
do it.
different team. Build like
Mm-hmm.
a yeah, build a team that like has never been featured. So that's why to me I'm saying Private Party. Private Party might be the ones that like get benefit from this whole thing,
Yeah.
because they win the title. Imagine that they're gonna come out huge
Mm-hmm.
when this is all said and done. So I feel that that's how they should portray this situation. Hopefully, it's interesting. That's the only thing. As long as we as fans are enjoying this, I think that's going to be the beauty of it. We're going to be tuned in. We're always going to have to be watching. We have. I want to say that we're probably going to have the most amount of wrestling in history for us as fans. Imagine that you'll have
Oh yeah,
Monday, you'll
this is
have
the
Raw.
greatest time to be a wrestling fan for
Yes,
sure.
yeah. Imagine Monday you have Raw. Wednesday you have two shows, Dynamite and NXT. You have New Japan on Saturdays. You have the OVW with the female wrestling on Access, New Japan, and on top of that you're gonna have Impact. So the amount of wrestling that you have is gonna be insane. And Friday night SmackDown on Fox. So it's gonna be insane. So for that reason, we're gonna try to like divide the coverage. So each one of the members of Rover, we're gonna have to do a show. At least that's what we're thinking
Yeah.
of doing, because we all, Brandon, John Paul, Egg, myself, we all have jobs, so we don't have the ability to just be in our houses all the time and just be watching wrestling. I mean, we would love to be paid for that, but that time hasn't come yet. We're not saying that that time might not ever come, but that time hasn't come yet. Any closing thoughts with this episode, John Paul?
No, I think we pretty much covered it all. Just excited to see what, you know, how this war turns out.
Yeah,
How AEW. I mean, like I said, I it does seem like I was cutting them up this episode and bashing them and this and that, but maybe I'm doing the same thing Kenny was doing to NXT.
yeah, you're just it's just a
Yeah,
work.
yeah, this
It's
is
just a
all
work.
a work.
It is a work. Yeah, it is a work. And at the end of the day, you're friends with all of them.
Hmm.
You wrestle with them at
Yeah,
some
I'm
indie
drinking
show.
White Claws with Joey Janela. Yeah, we're all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
you
yeah.
really used to wrestle him, and
Yeah.
then that's how you guys became friends and everything. I think that closes the show for today, guys. I think we tried to cover everything. If you have any comments, any questions, something you would like to add, please let us know. If you want any other show, if you want Impact to be covered, let us know. If you want Ring of Honor to be covered, let us know. Any more topics for the top 10 that we do and things like that, just let us know. Please subscribe to our Facebook page. We want to thank all the new followers that we have and keep watching the shows. We'll be here covering what's going to be happen on the first episode of AW Wednesday Dynamite, NXT. We'll be back with Raw and SmackDown and every single pay-per-view that WWE has to offer. So thank you very much, Jean Paul Eck, and we want to shout out Ryan once again, and we'll be back.